Hello there, this is Scott Welsh, and we're here on Thursdays, as always. If you look at the screen, I changed the name. Did you see that? I changed the title. It's not that I don't want to talk about robot trading anymore, but I've become obsessed, and it is an obsession now, of beating the market. And I'm going to talk so much more about this in the weeks and videos to come. I want to beat the market. I want to beat the market every year. But beating the market, A, is the title of Edward Thorp's book, which is a good one. But B, I don't just want to beat the market. That's not good enough. I want to maul the market. And I thought that was nice because there's two M's in it. Isn't that cool? So that's what I'm titling it now. I might change it again, but I want to be very specific about why we're here. I want to beat index funds so bad that it makes my limbs tingle. It's crazy, my obsession. But anyway. So we're here on Thursdays, as always. I changed the title, but keep in mind that everything I do is to beat the market. I just want to thrash it. Maybe I should call it thrash the market. There is more than one way to do that, though, and that's what we're going to talk about today. There is more than one way to the Holy Grail of trading. You want to do a webinar on what the Holy Grail is? That's another time, but I'd love to do that. That's my website, of course. Subscribe to my YouTube channel. Subscribe to the Wednesday weekly newsletter. YouTube, you just go and hit subscribe. Wednesday weekly newsletter, go to scottwelsh.me, click on that. That's been growing very nicely, super excited, and there'll be big changes coming, exciting new things coming up. Now, last week we talked about breaking up is hard to do, breaking up with the Euro Aussie. So let's update that real quick before I get into today's topic. If there's one thing I've found to be true, and that is just when we consider giving up, things change. I've seen it with relationships. It's like, man, this isn't going to work out. And then you have a talk and it really works out. In trading, though, it happens. I can't even count how many times it's happened. As soon as I get tired of a system, it turns. Last week, I laid out a case to drop the Euro Aussie, right? Or I also laid out a case to keep it, but I laid out a case to drop it. Since that webinar, it's won 4 in a row. Boom, 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 boom. Isn't it funny? Of all the weeks that I chose to be upset and to make an argument against it, right after I said it had changed. Is that scary? Is that weird? Do you know how many times this has happened to me in my little trading system, friends? It's crazy. And also, we've talked quite a bit. Maybe you and I have talked here on the webinar, or maybe I've talked privately with other people, lifetime members or whomever. But we've had a lot of discussion about not trading when the spreads are big, because the spread widens and we get a bad entry, and then when we hit the target, the spread has actually made it so it's not profitable. Well, guess what? Even yesterday, I think it was, and today is October 19th, a big spread affected a Euro Aussie trade. So the entry point was terrible, and yet it got out when it was supposed to get out, and it was still profitable. If I had put on a spread filter on that trade, for example, it would have ignored the trade. Haha, spread's too big. I don't want to be involved in that. But yet it was a profitable trade. Do you see what I'm saying? You start making filters for your systems, whether it's mine or yours, and there's always a counter argument, I guess is the best way to put it. Yes, there's a spread filter. It's not fair. Spread's supposed to be 2 and it's 8. Not fair. But even when the spread widens, you can still make profitable trades. And if you skip those, you lose money. I'm just very reticent to put extra filters in, even though it's frustrating. But those are two topics we've just talked about recently. And both of them, the argument against not dropping and not filtering for spreads was made quite dramatically. So just keep that in mind. Just keep it in mind. Now, we are all obsessed with the number one, right? How many times in romantic comedies, not my favorite genre, but how many times have you heard someone say, I think I might have met the one, right? Or I think I might have met the one trading system, but we'll get to that. But when you meet the one, you meet someone new, they're not the one, right? I mean, they're not. It's ridiculous. If that person who's the one started robbing banks tomorrow or started hurting people, couldn't there be maybe someone else we could meet? I mean, maybe they're not the one, maybe there's two, right? Just because they're not the one. If things change, they're not the one. It's ridiculous to ever say that person's the one. Even if they're fantastic, that doesn't mean they're the one. And are we all in the very first relationship we've ever been in? No. So what happened to all those others? Were they the one, or this is the one, or that's the one, right? It can't possibly be the only person for you. Are you telling me there's someone in China that wouldn't be great for you? Or Russia? Well, Russia's a bad example because they're mean, right? Russians are mean. But I'm just saying, right? In another country, right? And that was a joke about Russia, by the way. But anyway, another country, don't you think that there's somebody there that you might get along with, right? I've heard coaches over the years, over 2 decades, it's my way to hit the tennis ball. There's only one way to get to the pro tour. Is that a fact? Huh? No, it's not a fact. There are many ways to hit a tennis ball. There are many styles. Are there only one style of television show on TV or on Netflix, right? Do you see what I'm saying? Only one way to run a business, only one way to run a restaurant? It is a ridiculous argument. Of course there's not one thing. There isn't. And it fires me up when people say there are. There are many people who might be good for us, many ways to do all things, and many styles of trading systems that might work. It's why I keep pounding on it. Do what you like. Trade what you like. There isn't one system that's going to beat the market. There isn't one system that's going to make money for you. Now, getting deeper into it, if you study trading systems like I do, you realize how complex it all is. I believe in simple systems based on timeless principles, but that doesn't mean it's not incredibly complex. Remember that old saying? A butterfly flaps its wings in Tokyo and the weather changes in New York because the butterfly wing makes one change, which makes another small change, and then pretty soon there's a big change. It's 100% true. That stuff happens. Maybe not literally like that, but one change leads to almost an infinite amount of other changes, right? This is the same thing in trading systems. Even if you think you found the one, there's more than one way to do the one, right? For example, in a trading system, if you change one parameter, even in simple systems, it opens the door to an entirely new path of trading, right? For example, if you like using indicators, I love them. And I love it when people say, you don't need trading indicators. Indicators are lagging. I love trading indicators. They work just fine, okay, by the way. But if you change one indicator, where it gets in or where it gets out, that might mean trades in the other direction are affected. For example, if you're using a MACD and you change the settings, so this trade stays in longer. Well, in your previous round of testing, maybe you were out of that trade, which opened you up to go short, so now you're in a short trade. But because you tweaked that MACD just a little bit, you're still on that long trade, so that short trade is gone. And then that short trade that you were taking would have done a certain result, and that would have led to the next trade, but you didn't get that short trade. So that entire series of circumstances have all disappeared. It's like that whoop. I don't even know what that is. I've never made that sound before. But you know what I mean? Just one change of an indicator or change of time of day. You go from morning to night. Totally different group of traders. Morning systems and night systems are not even close. It's not even the same thing, right? It's not even the same genre. It's not even the same universe, morning trading and evening trading. Just changing 15 minutes or an hour. Changing an hour in your trading system leads to change, and it's totally different, right? Every change leads to almost an infinite number of other results. So don't get bogged down like, oh, I can't find the one set of system or one set of inputs. It's garbage. There's absolutely more than one in all systems, right? And if you believe in that, what you'll find is, and when you get really excited, is if you have a system and you can do multiple things and it all ends up okay. Do you have any idea? I'm talking to you people. Are you listening? Do you have any idea how many times I've tested the Hornet? For example, let's go even further. Do you know how many different versions of the dollar-yen Hornet that I've tested? I have a whole TradeStation screen with about 20 to 30 charts on just the dollar-yen alone. I have tested that thing, I don't know, 1,000 different ways, and I have so many different parameters. I've gone through every single thing, and I've paid money to have this added in and that added in. I've tested so much different time frames, whatever. And what I've found is on the time frame that I like, which is 15 minutes in day trading, for all day trading systems, it's my favorite. I found that a whole range of systems work. Like I could pick one of probably literally 20 different settings on the dollar yen Hornet, and they would all be fantastic, right? Now, so how do I pick the one? Well, drawdown, that's it, right? You pick the one that you like. I pick the one that trades in a frequency that I like, and I pick a drawdown I like, and that's it. But I know darn well I've got 20 different versions probably, at least 10 solid ones, probably 20. I'm going to do that one day. I'm going to see how many different versions I would trade. But I could pick any of those and be just fine. I like to look back and look at those and I go, oh, that one's doing well, that one isn't, right? There's way more than one way, and I've done that for all my other Hornets too, but mostly for the dollar yen, right? So let's get specific. A few weeks ago, one of my lifetime members emailed me about great results he's having on the Hornet, specifically the Euro Yen Hornet, okay? He made it was a crazy amount, like 50%. He was up 50% on the year or something. I don't know, just unbelievably well. And I don't trade the Euro Yen. I've tested it. I watch it every day, but I don't have live money on it. So I thought that's awesome. Let me say it again. It makes me so happy when people tell me they're making money. It's more fun for me to hear from them than it is to see wins on my own account. It truly is, right? I don't know if that's the coaching side of me. It was so much more fun to coach than to play, by the way. But anyway, and I was just ecstatic. But then he said, well, I have different settings than you. And I thought, awesome, do your own work. And I thought, wait a second. Those are dramatically different, not dramatically, but significantly different than the settings that I have for my Euro Yen Hornet. So it raised the question and led to this webinar today. Is he wrong? Am I wrong? Well, of course, the answer is neither. That's why we're here today, right? Let's look at the data, and then you can decide. Here is the data. It's I think it's from 2003, 10-year run. I use a very small trade size. And by the way, when I talk about testing with you, I always use a small trade size. People email me 100 times more often asking me about small trade size. I've got 1,000, I've got 2,000, I've got 5,000, I've got 10,000. Nobody emails me anymore, or really in a long time. I've got $1 million account. What should I do? I don't get those emails. So that's why I use small trade size. All you have to do if you want to see bigger numbers is multiply it by 10 or 100, okay? Just so you know. All right. So using a tiny trade size for this example, all right, my Euro Yen Hornet robot made $3,662 over, I think it was 10 years or 8 years or whatever it was, doesn't matter. And it had a maximum drawdown of only $231. That is fantastic. And it had no losing years. I love my Euro Yen Hornet. I just don't love it as much as I love my dollar yen Hornet, but I love it. And if you do the math and get my profit to max drawdown ratio, you can see that 3662 divided by 231 is 15.85. Great way to judge systems. What is the profit? Take obviously the same amount of time and divide profit by drawdown and get a ratio, right? Anything over 2 to 1 is fantastic. So this is clearly a nice number, right? So then I ran his settings because he was so nice to share. I really appreciated that. Same trade size. Okay, same thing. I didn't change anything on the trade size. His settings made $6,000 and mine made $36,000. His made a lot more, right? But the max drawdown on his settings were $402. That is also quite a bit more, right? His settings had no losing years, but had 1 year where it barely made any money. Whereas mine had no losing years, but they were all substantially up. You know what I mean? It wasn't just down to almost zero. And if you divide, obviously, by 6,000 by $400, you get 14.96 to 1. Again, a phenomenal ratio. So there you go. Dramatically different. The indicator settings on it were dramatically different. I mean, they weren't even close, right? And yet, both of them came out with what I would call fantastic results. Maybe you're better than me and this is nothing for you, but I think they're fantastic. They both have great equity curves. They both have good history. They both are working and making profit. They both have drawdowns that we can handle. And they both are completely different settings, right? So is there just one path to the Holy Grail? Okay? Clearly not. If you look in our everyday life, there's more than one way to everything. And if you're looking at trading systems, there's more than one trading system. And within one trading system, there's more than one way to even trade that. Right? Keep your mind open. Don't pressure yourself or harm yourself because you think there's only one thing. There are multiple ways to get to the promised land. The way I taught tennis, I thought was the best way to teach tennis ever. But other people play differently and they did just fine, right? Make sure it's something that you like. It all comes down to that. If I have a system you like, trade it. If you have a system you like, trade it. Because you're not wrong, I'm not wrong, nobody's wrong. We're all just here to make money. Okay? Now, back to the example, and then we'll take questions or see what anybody has to say. Going back to the example, right? We have 3,600 and 231, or we have 6,000 and 402. Much less profit, much less drawdown. Little better ratio here. So which would you use, right? Now the spotlight is on you. The settings that I researched had a slightly better ratio overall over that time frame. But his settings trade twice as often, right? So maybe that matters to you. Do you see how important this is? I don't like active trading. I don't like it, right? You might love it. In which case, guess which settings you choose? The other ones, right? Both are excellent. I would happily trade both. But if you make me choose, I'm choosing the one, A, with a slightly better ratio, but mostly because it trades less. I don't like a ton of trading. It's just not what I like, right? There isn't just one way to win, and don't let anyone ever, which is the point of the message today, don't let anyone ever lock you in a desperate box, okay? I like what I do doesn't mean it's the only way, right? There's more than one way to happiness, but when you find it, commit. Commit. Find the one you like and commit, okay? Don't put the fear of missing out into your life at all, right? Find your way, stick to it. If you find someone you love, stick to it, right? Yes, there's more than one person for you. Doesn't matter. If you like the one, don't try to get happier than happy, right? All right, let's look and see if anybody has any comments or questions, and we'll wrap it up for the day. Let's scroll back a little bit. Let's see what people have. Ooh, some comments flowing in over our webinar. Haha, that's funny. Ulrich says my clock was late. My clock is perfect, Ulrich. Okay, it's on atomic time. I don't know. Whatever. Mel says. Mel likes the M's. Thank you. Thank you, Mel. Douglas, stop it. Douglas, I think you make me laugh once a day. That's funny. He was talking about possible other countries where I would find someone I like and named a funny country. I won't say it because I don't. It's funny. Can you work on another with a super high win rate? Oh, Douglas, of course. He makes me laugh, then he makes me angry. 4 seconds later. He wants another hair and pair. Someday you'll get another hair and pair. But I think the win percentage on the pound dollar is actually pretty good. Elima says multiple reality trading. That's funny. Jonas says, wow. I want to say it right. I'm very particular about getting your name right, Jonas. So you can let me know if it's a J or a Y, a yo. I had the same experience on the pound New Zealand with Finch, Ulrich says. Completely different settings. Yeah, absolutely. When you're trading something like the Finch or my version, which is the fair value robots that don't have stop losses, yeah, there's a lot of ways to get to the promised land. Absolutely. Yeah, it's absolutely. Ulrich says no. I don't know why he said no, but it's funny. It becomes late over. Oh, that's funny, Ulrich. Douglas says, have a great day. All right, everybody. Let's wrap it up. The trend following course, I've been working on it every day this week. It's 80% done. The recording's going well. I'm going to send some preview videos out. I'll tweet them out. It'll be on the YouTube channel, so you'll be able to watch some videos from the course for free. Just keep in mind that it's going to come out. It's going to be very similar pricing to the other courses, but there's going to come a time. I tried to keep this pretty cheap. I want people to have access to my robots on my systems, but there's going to come a day where the prices just go up. I'm going to include the robot in all the courses. I'm not going to allow them to be sold separately. Right now, they're sold separately. Buy it cheaper for discretionary use and then pay for the robot if you're interested, but they're all going to come with a robot and it's all going to be more expensive. So just keep that in mind, just telling the truth. I've got research has begun on a brand new course unrelated to any of this, so I'm pretty excited about that too. All right, YouTube keeps rising. Thank you, everybody. And there's the contact information. That's all for this week. Can't wait to talk to you again soon. Bye for now.